Hello everyone, Nika here with your Daily Neuro Nugget. Happy Thursday and welcome. We have so many redacted documents, over 300 plus documents, definitely more than 300 pages. And every time that I open up one of these newly dropped documents, I am shook. I am shook because we were told that this was a done case. People are very angry, saying, why are you still talking about this? Mr. Koberger has taken the plea deal. Why are you still talking about this? And it's like, how are we not going to talk about it when every time I'm opening a document, Koberger is looking more innocent by the day? And part of me makes me think this is why Ann Taylor chose the plea deal or guided Mr. Koberger to accept the plea. But statistically speaking, 95% of cases end in plea deals anyway, right? So I'm going to get right into it because Dylan, we've had so many questions for Dylan since the beginning. Welcome, guys. Welcome in the chat. Make sure that you're hitting that like. Again, this is very time consuming. I'm a regular person who works 2 regular jobs. So this is something I do just for fun. Very time consuming. Please leave it a like. That's all I'm asking for. Leave a comment if you're feeling safe. Now, we've had so many questions for Dylan since day one, and now that these early day documents, these documents were typed soon after the crime was committed. This one I'm about to read to you was typed up on November 13, 2022 at 6:48 p.m. by Officer Nunez. And it's not matching what Bill Thompson was telling us, that they were frozen in shock. It is not matching that. So nowhere in these documents am I seeing that she was frozen in shock. It looks like they were words that they put in her mouth, just like the bushy eyebrow thing. Nowhere in these documents is it mentioning that she saw somebody with bushy eyebrows. So again, hit the like. By the way, these are my theories, opinions, and it is for entertainment only. So remain respectful with each other in the chat. Now, I'm going to start here. This is document 3 on page 2. And this is very disturbing because Dylan, I don't know if this is how she meant it to come across, but it's weird because it's hinting at, this is at least how I'm reading it. Again, these are my opinions. It's hinting that Kaylee and Ethan were together. Okay, I'm trying to remain respectful, remain open-minded. And again, I have to put myself in the shoes of a college teenager in 2022. I don't know what college kids are doing these days. Are they swinging? Are they sharing partners? I have no idea. We know that they were using very likely substances, right? Illegal substances. We know there was a blue powder. And please, for people who are trying to say, oh, it's Addy, it was Adderall, it was Coke, it wasn't. And I'll get to that in a second live, because that is a way that people are trying to defend the roommates, making it seem very normal. But the documents are showing that it was not Adderall, it's not Coke, it's something else, babe. So, and we have to talk about it because at the end of the day, we're here for the truth. Anyway, let's talk about Dylan, and let's talk about this hint that she gave the cops. Why is Dylan hinting that Kaylee and Ethan are in the same bedroom? Why would she tell that to the cops? Is that a little bit weird? Again, are young people partner hopping? I don't know. I'm very old fashioned. I could be these college students. I could be their mom. I could be their parents. And, when I went to college, let me know if you went to college, your experience, people maybe had several partners, but they didn't partner hop, at least in the college I went to or that I knew of, right? The crowd. But upon entering the room, it says, I observed a female laying supine on the floor next to a bed. According to, and again, I'm filling in the blanks because these names are redacted except for the first letter. According to DM, this female was likely Kaylee Gonsalves. So Dylan is saying, yeah, that person on that floor is probably Kaylee. Dylan also lived at 1122 King Road. I observed dried blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. By the way, if you're a sensitive individual, if you don't want to hear very gruesome details, get out. That's your trigger warning. Kaylee was covered in so much red fluid, I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Kaylee was apparently deceased due to her pale skin color, rigid body tone, and apparent BLOOD loss. On the bed in the same room, I observed Kaylee. I also observed a male lying supine on the bed. Supine is face up, by the way. According to Dylan, probably, the male was likely Ethan Chapin. Dylan said Ethan was commonly at the residence. I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs, surrounding his body into the bed sheets, and drops of red fluid on the wall near Ethan's head. As I backed out of this room, H, which I'm assuming is Hunter, I am assuming here, so fill it in with whatever H name you want, showed me a kitchen knife, and then said he had it in his possession. I told Hunter to leave the knife and go back down the stairs to the front entrance. Officer Warner and I moved to visually clear the residence for any suspects or additional victims. On the third floor, Officer Warner and I found two additional apparently deceased females, both lying supine in a bed. This bedroom was on the southwest corner of the third floor. According to Dylan, these two females were likely Xana and Madison Mogan. Xana and Madison Mogan. Okay, why is Dylan assuming that Xana and Madison were in one room? And why is Dylan assuming that Kaylee and Ethan are in another room? Why would she assume that? Unless she knows what's going on in the house, which of course we would assume she does because she lives there. And again, people get very butthurt because yesterday's live, I talked about the rolled up $2 bill that was found next to a blue powder, which by the way is not Coke, it's not Adderall. Stop saying that. Something much worse. Something much worse. Okay? Let's paint a real picture here. So were they partner switching? Were they partner switching? Why is Dylan assuming that Xana and Madison are in one bedroom and Ethan and Kaylee are in another? Is that not a little bit odd to you that Dylan would assume that and mention that to the cops? Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently deceased. And I love that they put females because so many females in the comments are like, oh my God, you're a misogynist. Oh my God, how can you say females? I'm like, well, I was in the military, and also it is the terms that are used by law enforcement. Right? I don't know what you want me to say. Like I can't even say female or male. What, bro? I don't want you on my channel, by the way, if you're that sensitive, right? After the residence was deemed safe, Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it and the immediate area to include the parking lot immediately to the north of the residence. Now, Dylan also heard something. She was not frozen in shock. Dylan never said that. That's not in these comments. Again, that was added later on, probably by Billy Boy Thompson trying to secure the case. Oh, we have a secure case. We know it was one guy. We know it was a perpetrator, one perpetrator. And this was a targeted incident. You know, all that bullshit that came out his mouth. And then they had to retract it in front of everybody because they looked like effing idiots. Yeah. Anyway, none of that is in these legal documents so far, right? I walked outside and began interviewing D. D told me, probably Dylan, D told me at approximately 4 a.m. she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. So she heard a scream. This woman heard a scream. She heard a scream. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announced there was somebody inside the residence. So remember when Bill Thompson and Chief Fry were like, yeah, she heard a whisper of there's somebody here. Okay, they literally twisted her words because she said she heard a scream. She heard a scream and announced there was somebody inside the residence. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee's run from the third floor down the stairs to the second floor into the northwest bedroom. Dylan said she locked herself in her bedroom and continued to hear a commotion. Dylan said eventually she stopped hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you." Dylan said she did not recognize the male's voice. Dylan said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 foot tall, slim build with a black ski mask leave the second floor patio area. See? There's nothing about bushy eyebrows there. They just pull that out of their rear end. I interviewed the additional roommate, BF. I don't know who BF, I'm assuming Bethany Funk, right? You fill it in with whatever you feel comfortable, because people also got upset in yesterday's lives and they're like, well, BF could be anybody. BF could be anybody, Nika. It's like, use your little brain cell that you have. You know, that one that's struggling to stay alive? Who else was a roommate that was in the home? I only know of one BF, but anyway, I digress. I interviewed BF, who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. B said she was on the second floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with D, probably Dylan, and an unidentified person named L. Who is L? Now we're finding out that there was another person there with them. There is somebody else there with them. Who is this L person? And that's why Mr. Koberger was very likely advised to take the plea deal. Because now that all of us here with some brain cells have access to all of these documents, don't rely on me to do the only investigation. Nika, you should do this, you should do that. Okay, you do something too, babe. Like, you guys go also read the documents, do your own investigation, because there's so many documents here that I could miss it. I'm not perfect. I also work a job. So please, if you're just like literally chilling at home, you know, Google Koberger investigation documents, pull them up yourself, and let me know what you find, right? Let me know what you find. Because this is showing that we were lied to from the get-go. None of this is matching what the state said, what Bill Thompson said, what Moscow Police Department said, what the Chapins have said. And now we know that there's a third person here in the name of L. Who is somebody that we know that has a name that starts with L? There was a third person in the home that I have never heard of. Who is this person? Bethany said at approximately 2 a.m. on 11/13/2022, Madison and Kaylee came home from a night out at the Corner Club bar, located at blanked out in Moscow, Idaho. Bethany said she also believed Madison and Kaylee went to the Grub Wandering Kitchen truck that was commonly located in the 300 block of South Main Street. Bethany said she and Madison let Madison's dog out, Murphy, sometime between 2 and 2:30. So Bethany and Madison were out and about together, taking the dog out from 2 to 2:30, and Bethany says she didn't see anything suspicious. Bethany says she returned inside while Madison was still outside with Murphy. Bethany says she went to bed around 2:30. Bethany said Madison came into her bedroom sometime after 2:30 to ask if she knew where Murphy was. So it sounds like Madison lost Murphy. They had just taken him outside. And then now they can't find him. Now they're like, where did Murphy go? Bethany said she told Madison no, and Madison left. Bethany said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located on the first floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker and a flash. A firecracker and a flash inside this home, this paper-thin home. Again, we've heard previous residents of 1122 King Road being interviewed, and they have all said one thing that matches. Okay, they've all said that this was a party home, aka a rug home, and they have all said that this home was paper-thin walls. You could hear everything that was going on in the third floor when you were in the lower level, right? Paper-thin walls. And here we have Bethany saying she heard something loud like a firecracker and flash. Meaning what? Meaning it was loud as budge, people. She said initially she thought the sound was a prank. According to Bethany, phone log she showed me, Bethany called Xana at 4:21, Ethan at 4:22, Madison at 4:22, Madison at 4:30, and Kaylee at 4:31. Bethany said she never received an answer on each phone call. Bethany said she went back to sleep and woke up around 11:56 when 911 was called. Which, again, what are we finding there? Oh, that Bethany lied. Also fucking lied straight to the cops from the very beginning. And if there is one thing that we know, if somebody lies from the get-go, it's because they were trying to hide something. How do we know that she was fucking lying? She's a fucking liar. She is a fucking liar. Why? Because now we have the documents to show that no, bitch, you did not go to bed at 4:30 and wake up at noon. Why? Because she made calls in between that. Remember, the documents now show after the investigation began that she was actually on TikTok, on Yik Yak. She was on all types of social media, and also she reached out to her parents. So you lied from day one, baby. Oh my God, Nika, don't talk to the roommates or about the roommates that way. That's so disrespectful. It's the truth. I'm sorry if the truth hurts your little crooked heart, your little black hole of a heart, but it's the truth. We literally have the evidence to prove that. And if it makes you upset that those things don't match, you know, if it makes you upset that Bethany said that she was sound asleep from 4:30 to basically noon, but the documents from from her cell phone show otherwise, don't get mad at me, babe. Go take it out on somebody else, babe. Don't get mad at me. Maybe go ask somebody else some questions. I'm not gonna say who, but maybe go ask a person. Hey, how come those two things don't match? Doesn't make any sense, right? We know damn well if that was Mr. Koberger, everybody and their mama would be up his behind. They would be saying, guilty, guilty, behead him, right? Initially, I was told Kaylee was likely located on the second floor bedroom with Ethan. Again, why was Dylan hinting at that? Why was Dylan assuming and telling the cops that Kaylee was probably on the floor, on that floor with Ethan? All I can think about at this very moment is the fact that Mr. Gonsalves said horrible things were going to come out. Horrible things were going to come out. And in my opinion, something that would be horrible for a parent, or parents who are very old-fashioned, or they're very narcissistic and controlling, and they want to be perceived a certain way, would be nothing worse than knowing that there was actually rugs found at the home. Like now we know there was a blue powder rugs found at the home. Is that why the Chapins don't want to talk about that? What parent wants their child to be remembered as a rug user? Be honest. Probably nobody. Probably nobody. What parents want their daughter to be seen as somebody who sleeps around with a bunch of people? Because in other documents, we're going to learn a lot about Kaylee, and it doesn't make her look good in the eyes of a lot of people, right? We know she was a college student. She had a lot going on, okay? Kaylee knew a lot of boys. That's for sure. So why is Dylan making that statement, telling the cops that she thought that Kaylee was likely located on the second floor bedroom with Ethan? If you want to look this up yourself, pull up Koberger investigation documents, sub 3. Right? Supplemental narrative number 3. Pull it up yourself, read every little thing, because there's so much. There's so much BS coming from Bethany. And it's funny because people are still like, they were not at the home. They were not at the home, you know, they were at a hotel. No, they were not at a hotel. They were obviously at the home. Like, you think if they were in a hotel, they wouldn't have told the cops that? Yeah, they would have told the cops that, because who wants to be perceived in such a way that you're at the crime scene and you didn't call 911? If they had been at a hotel, they would have had proofs. They would have had proof, like, you know. What powder's blue? They live? Go watch my live yesterday. Please, go watch it. I literally made a whole live talking about that, okay? Like, go. We already talked about that, babe. We already talked about that. Go there, because fentanyl is blue, babe. Fentanyl, what? Fentanyl just reminds me of Idaho. It just reminds me of the Aryan Brotherhood gang that got arrested just months after, that were already being investigated during the IDAHO4, and even before that. It reminds me of fentanyl. It reminds me of Jesse James Bailey, the leader of the Aryan Brotherhood gang. And they are best known for moving what? Fentanyl. And they were arrested when? April 2023, just months after the IDAHO4 took place. Just months after. Largest drug bust in history. Fentanyl up the wazoo. People don't want to talk about that. The Chapins definitely don't want to talk about rugs being in the home, because they said in the early days, this has nothing to do with that, right? Maybit also said, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they did or not. That has nothing to do. Yes, it does. Of course, it matters if the victims had rugs in the system. Of course it matters. Family members are deflecting. The coroner / lawyer / nurse / supermodel deflecting. Why are they lying? Why are they deflecting? How are you guys doing in the chat, by the way? Happy Thursday. If you are just joining, make sure you leave a like. Again, like, I think people don't realize this is not easy to do. I think if this was easy to do, everybody would have a channel. We would all be deep diving. It's not easy to do. It takes, not to speak highly about myself, but just in general. By the way, I heard Huda London gave me a shout out. Shout out to Huda. Thank you so much. It takes a person that doesn't give a damn about how people perceive them. It takes a person that only gives a damn about justice and the truth to get up here, pull up all these redacted documents, talk about it, actually give your point of view. And by the way, I don't take notes. I don't take notes. I'm literally speaking out of my mind. Give it a like. Hit the like. Leave a nice comment. Or if you disagree, leave a comment in the comment section. I'm all for it. I'm all for people who disagree. Actually, people who disagree or who have other points of views, I enjoy that, because it makes me think 1,000 different ways, 1,000 point of views instead of one. It's always going to get you closer to the truth. I just don't like when people are disrespectful. That's we don't allow that here, boo. Hello, Ophelia. Welcome, Pumpkin. Welcome, Outcast. Welcome, Caring Joy. Welcome, Nadine, Desire, Betsy, Dustin. Rosendale interrupted Kaylee and Hunter that time. Oh, snap. Right? Yeah, sure. I think so. They definitely did seem a little flustered. And I could see Rosie being a cock block. I get it. I could agree with that for sure. For sure. Nadine says, what also bugs me is that Molly saw a lady in top window with long, dark hair ducking the whole time when she saw her. Can it be E. Bailey? I don't know. I don't know. Xana also has dark hair. MW says, I've got a weird feeling that Xana and Maddie were in bed together, part of a ritual of some kind. So why would Dylan think that Ethan and Kaylee were together? Why do you think that Dylan said that? Please let me know. Be honest. Be honest. Don't be afraid of being judged, right? It's giving... It's giving sleeping around vibes, at least that's my opinion. And that's going to really piss people off, but it's how I feel. Unless Dylan was just saying that to try to paint a picture, a different picture. I don't know. Hello, Big Bum. Thank you so much. Hi, Peggy. Love the outfit. Thank you. Pink. Pink. I love pink. MW Jones. If Case face was badly damaged, it could have been made difficult to ID at first. But did they actually have Dylan go up there and ID? I don't think so. I don't think that's what they did. That's not what cops are going to do. They're not going to take somebody who was at the crime scene like, Dylan, come with me. Who do you think this person is? Who do you think this body is? I am 99.9999% sure that they did not do that. So if they asked Dylan and Bethany as far as roommates go, I think they would have just asked questions. They're not going to take her and re-traumatize her potentially and go see the victims. They're not going to do that, right? So I think that Dylan just said that to the cops. Shelly says, free Koberger. We all need to help him get out. I don't think he did it. Hello, Rex. Welcome. Thank you. Shelly, this whole case is so full of lies. Hello, Pretty Sweet Pea. Thank you so much for the kind comments. New to your channel and I caught you live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome. I hope you feel safe here. I hope you like it. I hope you subscribe. And I hope you don't get unsubscribed because hundreds of people have reached out to me on my Instagram, which is, by the way, in the description of every video if you guys want to find me there in case something happens here because we're totally getting suppressed. Right? Desire, thank you for your hard work. Thank you so much, Shelly. And Bill Thompson had the nerve to say we can't even put him there at the scene of the time, right? I think that's why Ann Taylor in that last sentencing looks so disgusted. Some of the faces that Ann Taylor made at the judge, at least the way I saw it, was she's a little disgusted. She's put off what was going on in that courtroom. Bethany and Dylan are lying. They weren't in the house. Why would they lie about that? They were obviously in the house. Why would they implicate themselves when they could just say they were not in the house, right? A flash and a firework, right? Right. Rosie, noisy hardwood floors also, exactly. Aunt B, exactly why the house was destroyed, right? BF called her mom and dad early in the morning, yes, but then why did she tell cops since day one that she went to sleep after 4 or after 2:30? And after 4 and then stayed asleep until noon, right? When we know damn well she was taking pictures, editing images, and on like at least 5 separate social medias. It's disgusting. It's giving they're lying, it's giving they're implicated, it's giving they're covering, they're behind from day one, right? As One Divided We Fall says, flashbang or firecracker was a home and individuals tested for residue. Contained black powder, which is a mixture of potassium nitrate, charcoal, and sulfur. Well, we don't know, right? Because the home was destroyed. Huh. They're like, let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this house. Let's demolish this house ASAP. Phoenix says, I think E and X were unalived already by 2. K and M got jumped as soon as they arrived. K attacked first. M went to help, then they went to grab her. Aunt B, why does DM need money to heal? I know, the last time she was trying to heal, she was supposedly getting help from the spirit world. And I'm like, does she mean like spirits like the occult world? Or does she mean spirits like liquor? And that was also when it was like, she's healing, she's taking time off, she needs help from the spirit world, and just like a day later, she's seen posting pictures partying. Betsy, please go watch The Rug Blue Powder. Please go watch yesterday's live. Please go watch yesterday's live. Please don't miss any of my videos because we talked about that in depth for like at least 40 minutes. I don't want to rehash it here. Thank you so much, Pretty Sweet Pea. I subscribed and like everything I've watched, been binging on. Thank you so much. And please, I know that you're new here, Pretty Sweet Pea, but if you can, like, go and watch the old videos from like the very beginning of the channel. Like 99% of my videos are on the IDAHO4. Because again, I'm neurodivergent, I'm high IQ, and I hyper focus. And when I see shit that isn't right, this puzzle piece is not fitting, I'm like, something is wrong here. I'm hyper focused and I need to fix it. It's like a puzzle we need to solve. So you'll be surprised by how many things we theorized in the early days that now we look back and like, oh, like for the fact that I thought Koberger was on the spectrum, right? When people were saying he just had demonic eyes, I'm like, pretty sure he's just on the spectrum, bro. But nonetheless, welcome. And thank you for watching all of my channel or all of my videos if you can, from beginning to end, because we've covered a lot here. A lot. Again, my channel is all IDAHO4, basically. See Through the Veil. Hello, welcome. Sweet as Taboo. The tox test came back. No rugs in the kid system. No rugs. Well, I'm gonna show you something else because have you seen the toxicology reports? Have you actually seen them, or are you just saying that? Sweetest taboo. Because I pulled up a legal document in Idaho, and I think it's gonna surprise you, right? We know every year in Idaho there are documents that are pulled up regarding these reports, and I think you're gonna be shocked. Unless did you see sweetest taboo? Let me know. I'm not picking on you. I'm just, be honest with me. Did you see with your own eyes the toxicology test? Did you? From the actual website. If you did, send them to me because I want to compare with the documents that I found on the idaho.gov website. Right? I want to compare. It's one thing to say nothing was found or because you heard that from May, but if you actually saw them, you know, let me know because I have other documents that say something else. I think a lot of people don't realize that you can pull up so much information nowadays on these yearly reports on the police departments, you know, the yearly reports, like the ones that I pulled up back in 2022 regarding Eric Gower and his involvement with Moscow PD. Eric Gower, the private driver that was supposedly driving for Uber, but he actually picked up the girls when he was off the clock, according to Uber. You know, these police reports, yearly reports, show a lot. And I found something regarding the tox reports on one of these yearly reports. So unless you saw it with your own eyes, and again, I'm not picking on you. I'm not picking on you. But let me know. Toxicology, you're not answering my questions. You're saying, look it up, it's in the documents. Okay, that's fine, but send it to me. Send it to me, because I want to compare, right? I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying, if you actually have tox reports from the victims, send them to me. Because I'm going to compare with my reports that I found on the government website. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Or maybe there's two separate sets of reports. So thank you guys for joining me in today's live. Please leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know, what do you think about Dylan telling the cops about Kaylee and Ethan? Was she hinting at them maybe being together in a physical way? Why was Dylan assuming that Xana and Maddie were in one room? Why was Dylan assuming that Kaylee and Ethan were in a separate room? Was this common? Was this something that took place often at 1122 King Road? It's disturbing to me. We also know that Dylan did hear a struggle. Bethany heard a firecracker / flash noise. So it was loud. And not only that, but what else did it say? It said that she heard a scream. She heard a struggle. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Toucan Chaos, for the $20. That is a massive donation. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Can't find where to buy a vet a coffee, so here I am. Please get you and your soul of choice a goodie girl. We love you, Nika. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much, and I really do appreciate that. It really does mean a lot, and I really do like a lot of coffee, right? We gotta stay caffeinated to keep up with all this information. That's amazing. Thank you guys. You're awesome. You're awesome. Pretty in pink. Nika, I love your necklace. Is that malachite? It is not. I appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful evening. Please make sure to vote before you leave. If you think that Dylan was hinting at something taking place between Kaylee and Ethan, please leave a 1. If you think she meant something else, please leave it 2. But if you do leave it 2, let me know what that something else was, because I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Or was she just trying to cover her behind? Right? So you guys have a wonderful evening. I'm actually going to do a second live today because I have, I think until 4. I think I go, and I think I start at 4 today. So I'm going to try to do a separate live to keep these documents separate. A lot of shocking information, guys. There is another very suspicious person that we're going to be talking about. He's in the documents that was never looked at. You're going to be shocked. See you guys soon. Take care.